asked this, so I'm going to read this correspondence.
So she's from Burlington?
I know your father.
Oh, we're little.
Dentist office.
Oh, dentist office. Oh, okay. I thought maybe he was for his kidney. No. Because he just had a transplant 2 years ago, but he has a few doctors.
Tell me when you're ready, because we're ready.
Never fails to not get my bird.
It did. We're now back from our 10-minute break. Call the meeting to order. Mary? Old business. Does any manager have any old business?
Yes.
Manager,
Dave? James. Okay. The old business is we had a member of the public back in April offer services to this board for grant writing.
For
Grant writing and so forth, etc. This board has really lagged getting back to this volunteer. Because I would like to make a motion to this board to accept Erin Aiden as a grant writer for her services to this board. Instead of dragging this out.
I don't think you need a motion. I don't think you need a motion for that.
he wants
So
it
let's get to
official.
work on.
He wants
So
it.
it's on the record.
Can I add to that?
Yeah.
I was going to do it in new business, but Erin McCord has offered her services on a board retreat, and I believe you could check with the attorney, but we're not talking board business, and we're talking about mission and organizing, coming up with common goals.
It's a working session.
Yeah, it would be so we don't need that. So we could possibly do it at the Lily Inn. Could we do it maybe the first week of July? The end of the last
I don't know what anybody else is, but I'm going away July 18th. I'll be back away for a week. And
That's the third week of July.
I understand.
He said the first.
But you got 7 people in here by yourself. There's 600.
I'm not speaking for anybody else.
I don't know what Erin's schedule is, but I know she. Would you like to say anything about it?
Sure. Well, first off, as far as date, come a little closer so that the recorder can pick you up. Sorry.
That one doesn't work.
Oh, yeah.
Just come close.
No. Just come up here.
It's fine.
That's okay. A little closer.
As far as the date, I will be away on vacation the first week of July. Anytime after that is fine. So depending on what you want to do. And if you haven't been to a board retreat, it is not about business of the board. It's not something that is involved public or any business decision making happens. It's all professional development, basically, and to make yourselves better board members and get to know your mission, put together your strategic plan. I would act as your facilitator. I'm not telling you what to do, but to help guide you through that process to become cohesive.
So what she said, you're saying that all the board members could be at that meeting and it wouldn't be considered a quorum?
Not at all. Not at all. It's more professional development. You go
Almost
to
like a class.
Right. You go over sunshine laws. You discuss your mission. Is it appropriate? Are your activities coinciding with your mission? And then all of you have talked about awesome things that you want to do as far as fundraising or your grant writing, but then you put it all together and now you have an acting working plan and it's everyone's on the same page. And you've all come up with those ideas on your own. So then you take that plan and now you know where to go with it. You know who to talk to and for what. You know, you might go into a board retreat and find out conservation is the way you want to go at this point, or high school students is where you think your priority needs to be. But you will come up with that collectively.
So what we need to do is set a date.
Erin, would it be improper for you to email the members of
Okay.
Just list a date that you come back that you'll be
Just list when
available.
you're available.
After
We'll
such
take
and
care of
such a
She's
date.
available after the first week in July.
But I
After the
will-
first week of July, it could be to the 7th, it could be to the 9th,
And
it
you
could be
got,
to the 11th.
July's available, everybody goes on vacation, I'm gonna be away one of those
Vacation.
weeks.
Tony has all our emails, she could, I'm volunteering her, of course, but she could email you, copying all of us and start the dialogue, and see if we can come up with a date, time, place.
I tell you what, how about I just send it to Tony?
That's cool.
And she'll
And then
forward it.
she can take
That
care of all
way
that,
it
and
has to
I
go
won't
through the
mess it up.
secretary
Do you have my
anyway.
email?
Yes, yes I do. Yes I do.
Okay, cool, very good.
Okay? So
Right,
you're in?
thank you, Aaron.
All right, you're
No, not at this time, until we, Don, you had a comment?
No, I was wondering if we were to vote on to accept her as possibly the grant writer, and then somebody has to second it. That's all.
I don't, that's necessary, we haven't done that, we're gonna do a mission statement, and when she gets, that has. nothing to do
Probably
with
after the
grants.
mission statement, we'll take action.
Because we don't want to see this being dragged out for months,
Correct.
years on end.
Oh, yeah. And that can easily happen, it has already.
That's why I've been a little assertive tonight.
Well, as Mayor Caruso knows, as, once a Marine, always a Marine, poor prior planning leads to piss poor performance, so maybe we can come up with a plan and we can all.
I'm a soldier.
Any other old business?
Yeah, I have something. A couple of things that I've come across, and I don't know if it has anything to do with anything, but it just seems to be odd to me that, I don't know how many years, the city sucked water off Burlington Island. And the question that I've always had was, did the board, since all the wells are on the Board of Island Managers side, how come the Board of Island Managers, or the board wasn't paid $1 or who the heck knows what for 35, 40 years worth of stealing the water?
You know, former manager B brought that up, probably, I can't tell you exactly, but it's been more than a few years ago, and I don't think that the managers realized that those wells were on the manager's property
Every one of them is.
until after they were capped.
Yeah.
And probably you guys started working over there, because Joe brought it up, and it wasn't until after you guys had cleared trails, and you may even have told them. But I don't think that former managers and longtime managers literally knew that the wells were actually all located
Yes.
on the board's half of the island.
The other thing that's interesting is that there originally was I acquired a map, and it shows all the plumbing on the island, plus all the telephone lines, all the telephone poles, all that kind of stuff and everything. And it shows that originally there was an 8-inch water line that went to the old plant, old waterworks plant. This map also shows, since the new waterworks plant was built, there's a 20-inch pipe going over to the island, connecting into the main on the island too. Now, everybody I talk to says, oh, well, no, that doesn't exist. I said, well, how come it's on the map?
Don, do you have any clue as to when the drills were put down? Anybody know how old those wells are?
1952.
Yeah,
And when did they stop supplying?
I was a little kid,
When did
probably,
they stop supplying water to the city with?
probably 35 plus years, 40 plus years. And they started drawing it out of the river. I think it's been about 40 years or better, because I think it was, because I remember when the water went from tasting good to tasting like the river.
Yeah. The other question I have is that I was talking to one of the family members of the Curtin Marina, and he stated the fact that I asked him the question if they were going to be using the poles that are pounded into the river on the island side for their sailboats. And he said he doesn't think so. He said he don't think we're going to be using them anymore. There's 6 poles there, and I said, well, is there any possibility that we can use those poles to attach our floating docks to and put docks that connect right onto the island? That way we now have our T connection without having to pound anything in the water. He says, yeah, it's possible that could be done, but then you would have to pay the 2 bills that we have for renting that space.
Do you know who they were?
Well, that's what I said to him. I says, well, who is that? He says, I don't know, but I know, he says, I know we have to pay, we have to send checks in. I said, well, does it go to the Board of Island Managers? He said, I don't know, I don't know.
When you say two bills, two separate bills or $200?
Yes, no, two separate checks that have to go to two different places.
Can you find out?
I could try and find out.
Well,
I don't know, Mike might know on it.
That's riparian rights that the state granted Curtin's Marina. It should have went out about 5 years ago. They had a 7-year lease on that. So they were paying the state to use that area there off the island, and it should be open now.
So if there was two checks, probably one went to the state and one went to DEP.
Yeah, probably.
Probably. I'm assuming. I mean, that's not a fact.
now, that's interesting, those poles are in the back channel, they're not on riparian right.
He was paying
Riparian
like-
rights go to the mean high tide and the mean low tide.
But
So
those,
that's
those
riparian.
poles are still exposed at low tide, you're not in the mud.
Not at all.
They can't be in the mud. It looks like.
No, I doubt it, I've watched, they've got those sailboats over there, I've been watching them for years, I'm a sailboater, so I keep looking at that stuff, but I don't think that gets lower than 2 feet in there.
Oh, yeah, it doesn't go to dead mud because they
That's what I'm
hook
saying.
sailboats in
So
it.
if it's water covered, it's not a riparian right.
But this is the question I had with him. What I was trying to get him to say was, what would be the chances that we could use one or two of your floating docks that were originally attached to that, the main docks, not the finger docks, but the main docks, one or two of them?
They ran the
Yeah,
left one.
long ways, and then they had little ones that came out, right? We don't want the little
I
ones.
don't think they had little ones.
Yeah, they had little two for it.
Finger
little two
docks,
for it.
yeah.
If it would be possible, if they could supply us with one or two of the main docks for there, we would only use half of them. And then from there, we could attach our docks to the island, and then I could cut trails to it. And then when the police say, well, we have no way to get anybody on the island, it's low tide, I goes, well, yes, you do, it's right here.
Well, John, we've had an email conversation back and forth about this, and I agree with everything you said. Again, back to the problem, you gotta go sit at that desk.
Yeah.
If you can't use the island, what the hell's the point of the dock?
Well, I think it's gonna, push comes to shove, we're gonna do what we want, see who's gonna try to stop us. That's what's gonna have to happen.
Well, that's.
I got enough
Would
guts.
anyone
That's-
be
that's the
first to
board
be
model.
contacting Curtin's, Carol, and some others?
Normally with curtains, I mean, if somebody has a good contact, they'll say one thing and then they want money in the end. I mean, if we don't have money.
I just mean who they paid the checks to. and
Oh, yes,
what
yes,
the
if you can
operating
find that
agreement
out.
was.
Be careful in that respect, and I'll tell you why, because 2 years ago, when I started talking to Pat Mulhern over in Bristol about getting the kayaks on the thing, we had a meeting for the Festival of Lights, and then afterwards, him and I were talking, and Carol Curtin overheard us, and she went and told Lisa Schiller, and Lisa came over and started giving us hell, you can't go on the island, you can't do this, so I don't know where Carol stands on all that. So just be careful, is all I'm telling you.
Find out, I guess.
I don't think we need to concern ourselves with that. If they can tell, let them tell all they want. If we decide to go on that island, it's push comes to shove, we're going, what are you gonna do about it? It's that simple, I mean, it's gotta come to a head. Who has a contact with the DEP from when this started? Where did that letter go? I want
Right
the
here.
person's name that letter went to. Can I have that?
Applegate.
You got it, take it, I can tell my.
Is there a phone number for this guy on
There
here?
might be, probably.
I know, I was personally in Joe Bates' office when he spoke to Mr. Applegate at least 3 times. And Joe switched it over to speakerphone, and the only reason he did was because it says, well, I got the guy here who works on the island. Would it be all right to include him in? And he said, yes. And basically, his statements kept coming back to the same point was, we've contacted the city to sit down and have a meeting with them, and they say they don't have the time.
Can you come up with a date by any chance?
Yeah, I'm gonna say it was probably well, the only way I can come up with a date, I'm gonna say it was probably sometime in, because they closed the island down basically in June of last year, so it's been over a year.
June 27th.
Yeah. Been over a
This
year,
letter,
so
and this letter is dated August the 12th, is it?
August 30th, so it
August
took,
30th.
it took Ron only 33 days to respond.
Yeah, so I'm gonna say it was probably sometime in September or October when we had this conversation. Because we were getting kind of like teed that nobody's doing anything. So Joe kept handing them on almost a weekly basis.
2012.
Yeah, yeah.
There's no number for this guy on here.
Joe
That's
has
right.
his contact.
Nick, it's easy to find him, all you have to do is call the DEP.
You can Google it right now. I got a smartphone?
Yeah.
I'm on it.
I know Joe Bate has a direct contact to the guy, or to anybody over there, because he handled him quite a bit trying to resolve this
Well,
issue.
he's a public official, you should, anybody
Yeah,
can get
anybody can get them.
Yeah, but I only need to get to them once.
Well, again, I think that's why the signs only pose the danger,
They didn't say
currents
it
and
was
swinging.
illegal.
It never
And
said it's
I
illegal
threw
or
that right in the
enforceable.
mayor's face.
And what's
Even
interesting,
doggy scooping laws are cited on the sign. That's the first public sign for danger I've ever seen without citing a statute or law.
and the thing that makes it so asinine, excuse my French, but he only posted this side of the island. He didn't put any signs on the Bristol side, so everybody goes around the Bristol side and comes on the
Well,
island.
most of the visitors are from.
Yeah, most of them are from Bristol, yeah, yes, they actually are.
Actually, this is really stirring bad blood for me right now. Let's move on to something else under old business.
Okay,
Actually, I was pretty patient with this because we were trying to improve our relations with the city and all that. I'm not a very patient individual. As far as this executive order goes, I'm at the end of my rope with it. So,
You might want to speak with, I've been conferring back and forth with Dave Babola. And Dave seems to be friendly to our cause, and he's become more friendly to it lately. But he basically came out with the same statement saying that, he can't do much because the mayor is in control of the whole situation. But he's sympathetic to our cause and he's willing to work with us. So I don't know, Dave, maybe if you spoke directly with Dave Babola, and just see how it would work out.
Well, I think Murray made the point in his one email that he read, which was that it really isn't administrative, it's an executive order. It doesn't really include council. I feel like there's a stalling
And,
mechanism going on.
And I think
from the
basically,
council.
if you pull the council into it, you're really gonna get into a really long push and shove and the politics of it all. It is an administrative deal, it's the mayor's edict, it has nothing to do with the chamber, and you wanna deal right with those dudes and hit them in the head. Don't, unless somehow the chamber wants to get involved, they probably don't only get involved to support it rather than to fight it.
well, it's unfortunate Diane Allen hasn't flexed her muscles. It's politics. She's the one that oversees everything for the good of the island, and she went in the
I'm
corner.
going to send a copy of this to her.
What copy of what?
Of that,
She's, this,
CC
the-
to her.
is it CC?
Is it CC to her?
this,
Look
this
at the
here,
bottom.
she's had this a long time ago, Mary. You probably gave her 5 copies.
No, but, well,
No, just went to Mary.
Does she have a copy of the legal opinion, which
well,
just
when you had to sit down with
talks
your,
about-
with the gal,
She's well aware.
well, I gave you that information, I just gave it to you to write.
She's
I didn't
well
give you
aware
a
of it.
copy.
She's not a newcomer to the game of politics. She's aware that this doesn't float. For whatever reason, she hasn't addressed it. Let's move on. Any other old
I do.
business? I don't care.
Has the filing cabinet keys been returned?
Yes, I
Okay.
have them in my truck. As a matter of fact, that's a reminder, what I'm gonna do, secretary's gonna have one. I will take I gotta take them both and make sure they both work, but I'm sure they do. I am going to put one in the care of Beverly Schlegelsberger at the recreation center. So if a manager does need to get in there, okay, she'll have a list of the managers and who's allowed to go in there, you can go in there, because she has tons of stuff to file. So she's gonna have a key, and then one will be there. That way, if that rec center's open and Beverly's there, any manager that needs to get in there has access.
I spoke to Myers Locks over in Mount Holly about a key, and if there was ever a need that we needed a new key made. And I told him that I was told that it's a kind of file cabinet that a key can't be made for. He says, that's BS. He says, I can make you any key that you want for anything.
Didn't you put it?
No, George's
Oh,
did.
yeah.
George's did.
Gee,
You
George.
know, the key done, it actually looks like a General Motors ignition kit.
Exactly.
That's what it looks like.
Right.
You would think it was for a GM car.
Yep.
But it's the blanks. Now, if he has something that will double as a blank for that key,
He's got blanks that goes back 150 years.
I've been blanked out wrong myself.
Yeah, me too.
Anything else under old
Yes.
business? Now,
We discussed, last month, setting up a general policy for volunteers on these events for like Wood Street Fair. We gotta bring up Wood Street Fair, what we're gonna do with this, because time's ticking away.
have we received paperwork from wherever it comes from to participate?
No, it doesn't.
Oh, that's right, not from the Wood
It
Street.
comes from Matt Panisi.
From
Mapanese.
yeah.
So Mapanese would be the contact on the Wood Street. Well, we know the date.
Or Ed Kennedy.
I'm not, yeah, that's easy. I always deal with Matt on that. But what he's saying is something different.
Right. He's saying we need to put a plan together on what we're gonna do for
Well,
the Wood
who's
Street.
gonna do it, what we're gonna do, or we're gonna just sit like we did this past time and nobody did anything?
Well, is this something we could do in the with our facilitator?
Of course you can.
Of course you can.
Probably could spend more time on it.
3 months.
Probably could spend more time on it.
Your goals, yeah. I think that'd be great.
How, I made a note of that, make sure that we don't forget. to bring that
I
up.
won't.
Yeah, I don't think you will. Anything else under old business? We'll move on to new business, and I have something that I was gonna read in correspondence, but I will address it in new business. Jim, former manager Cipriano, had forwarded an email that he received because he was still a contact person and the guy didn't know that he wasn't on the board. And it's from George Morrison from Boy Scout Troop 44. And what George was asking Jim was Boy Scout Troop 44 previously did Eagle Scout projects on the island. Any opportunity for troop to combine camping and cleanup on the island? And he sent that to Jim. Jim must have sent it to Joe Abate, but
Yeah.
I think Jim sent him back, Mr. Morrison, thank you for your contact and request. As a former manager on the board, I greatly appreciated the volunteer work that was done and the enthusiasm displayed. However, I am no longer a member of the board. Accordingly, I have copied current members so that they can reply to requests. I trust that you will have an enjoyable summer. Thanks once again for your interest. And I won't read Joe's response because he has that confidentiality notice and I'm not getting into it, but I don't know what the board's pleasure is. The guy's asking, I can email him and tell him that I'll be in touch. When would he like to do something? What does he have in mind? And leave it at that. I'm not sure, this guy's probably not even aware of the executive order.
I spoke, I also got that message, and I emailed the guy directly,
Okay.
and I stated the fact to him that, I'm manager on the board, I've been working on the island for 6 years, and the Boy Scouts actually did work for me over there, opening up the space and stuff like that, and we appreciated the work. They were good, we had a good time, everything came out nice and safe, and worked out well. But I told him that we don't have the ability as the board to allow them to be on the island without them setting up a plan and going directly through the city first.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I don't think
What
that's how.
happened the first time?
That's what I don't think happened. It was set up with Joe Bate and you guys, and we did it, we had to go through the procedure
Right.
with the city. And when I gave
Jim.
Nick, the copy of the email this evening, my feeling is that send it to the city and let them stick it.
Yeah.
Because let's push them. If we're gonna push them, let's push them from every angle we can.
Well, that's what I sent an email to Dave Babola, and I told him the exact same thing. I says, we have Boy Scouts that are interested in having possibly a cleanup or a jamboree on the island, or a nature study, or anything like that. We have Eagle Scouts that are willing to go over there and do a merit badges for over there. Can't do it if it's illegal, so I'm gonna pass it on to you, Dave, and you could be the bad guy.
Well, one other thing, if you know that Dunn Academy wanted to go over
Yes.
on the island and do an overnighter, and the city went to them and gave them all the layout and what they had to do, probably needed an aircraft carrier or something.
Yep.
And Dunn Academy just said, nah, forget it.
Yeah.
So I think the more, and this is gonna be on YouTube, so I'm sure I'm gonna be a bad guy tomorrow, but the more pressure we give the city from different angles, the more power I think we have.
I think
There is power in numbers, is what I said.
I think it's to our advantage to be able to bring up with quality groups like the Boy Scouts and with Dunn's Academy. These are very reputable people that want to use the island. indicates to us that are trying to save the island and save the board, we can't do it. We don't, our hands are tied.
Okay.
I want to add to that, well, I'm sorry, Hal, just want to add to that, what Doan Academy, when you talk about Doan Academy and reputable, Doan Academy came to this board, and Mary and I sat with John McGee, and their interest was in setting up some sort of educational situation on the board for sciences and all that.
Yep.
And this stuff is going to just shoot them down, nail them to the floor, and they don't want to be bothered because they said we do not want to be involved in the politics.
That's right. Yes.
Okay, suggestion here. We refer this through OEM, normal procedure, as prior protocol. If they are denied, get the denial letter or email from the Boy Scouts and refer it up to Mr. Appleton, up to the state. The state has a little bit more power than the mayor.
I think you got to go the other route. You got to do it through us and let them turn us down to get the Boy
Yes.
Scouts on, and then
Yes.
push it to Applegate.
I have a copy that was in the Beverly Bee. At the same time that the story ran in the Beverly Bee of the McNeil Mansion that was put in there by Mr. Gall, by Doug Gall, I noticed that down in the corner of that same page was a little paragraph that probably nobody ever noticed, but it said that, I think I showed it to Scott. It says, if anybody has interest in Burlington Island is closed. But if anybody has any interest of getting on Burlington Island, just go to the Office of Emergency Management for the proper paperwork to fill out. Remember that, Scott?
Yeah, but that was before the edict. After the edict, nobody has tried to even get close to doing that. Now is the time to do it, though.
I mean,
All right, let's not get back on this
Okay.
prohibition of the island, because you guys are gonna make me boil and make a show for YouTube.
This ties into stewardship in a sense, which I hope we will discuss in the retreat. But, you know, we have two stewards in the audience that I feel are great stewards, Lauren Fazika, Sarah Jacob. We're out there a lot. And I've seen Lauren take large groups of large testosterone revved guys at the rope swing and calm them down and teach, and they actually get them to clean up the space and to actually maintain civilized behavior, and then they carry that on with others, you know. And, you know, Don, by the way, I want to talk to you about garbage bags. We need to get more garbage bags. I mean, they try and keep it clean, but there's literally, they do their best. But there are some that go out there that push it to the limits, you know, and in a sense, the stewards can keep people from doing stupid things and can keep it safe for now, I think, because you are getting them out there regardless. So, aside from, you know, the emperor's new clothes, which, you know, the mayor says there's a law, but there really isn't, you know, I think, you know, we need to proceed respectfully, but, you know, and not be hot dogs. And I understand why they wanted to do it, to keep kids from swimming across the lake. Evidently, there were two kids swimming from their boat or jet skis at low tide last weekend on the Bristol side, you know, and somebody thought one of them drowned, or somebody saw them swimming and they thought, oh no, you know, but it's going to happen regardless of what we do, it's of what they do, meaning the city. But I think we as a board need to spread that word. I was going to propose doing some signage out there, simple signage. I've talked to Don about it as far as the environmental committee and how, and just posting it at where people come over from the Bristol side and also the Burlington side, just to say these are the criteria you need to meet. You know, if you're going to have a campfire, okay, I understand, you know, just maintain some order. If you want, I'll do it under the stewardship logo, although, you know, we haven't really talked about that, but, you know, just something so that the board, it's not the board's imprimatur or the board's say so, but it's just keeping people civil, you know, so that they don't do stupid things.
Scott, actually, at one time, and it was through Manager Bate, we were to post signs over there on the Green Acres property, and we pretty much adopted the same policy for our portion, where we were going to put the Green Acre signs, you know, with their code of conduct on both sides, on the Green Acre side and the board side. And I don't know whether them signs ever got erected.
No.
It was talked about, we did pass a resolution to do it. And then in somewhere, you know, it's normally what happens.
I think for now, we could do, I saved some, what you call Mylar from the 60s. It's not plexiglass, but it's rolls of clear plastic, and we can laminate them and, you know, put duct tape around them on little boards and put them on these places. Maybe we can download the Green Acres,
Somewhere in the file, we should have copies of that. I don't know,
Green
Joe
Acres
made
rolls and
copies.
put them up.
Joe made
Make it look a
copies
little
for
more
the.
official.
Here's a guy that does, here's a company that does exactly what you're talking about.
Did you have the verbiage that we?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think I did. I took
Yeah,
They
pictures.
all had it.
and that kid actually goes out to the island.
This guy's
His
out
mom
there on
has
the
a
island
farm
on
up in Jacksonville Road, I think, or Columbus
We may
Road.
be able to
Columbus
get
Road.
the program, PGX Designs. How come I haven't ever heard of this guy?
What's the name again? Because you never heard of
Right
him.
now?
No, the owner.
Designs.
The owner.
Brent. I don't know what his last name is, but he's the one you see the boat, you see his truck parked down by the city ramp, the one that's got all the graphics on it.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, he does vehicle wraps and everything. He does virtually everything around Burlington, more or less. But,
331 wrap.
he's doing signs for my van. It's actually gonna be a picture of the island, and it's gonna be on the side windows of my van, and it's just gonna say Burlington Island, get involved. That's it, just Burlington Island, get involved. It'll be one of our nice pictures. It's an aerial photo that we got from somewhere, and I have no idea where, but it just says Burlington Island, get involved. But he's doing them for free. So he would be a good contact for anything that we might need one way or the other, you know? And he's got an excellent graphic, computerized garage that can print anything from wrapping a truck. He does the police department cars in West Hampton with the wraps and everything. Yeah, very good guy.
Right, any other new business?
That was old business. wasn't it?
No, that was new.
Oh, okay, well, I got some new business. One of the questions I had for new business was, what are we going to do with the docks that are in the field since we have no more community service?
I don't think we ever really discarded community service.
Well, I think Joe, as far as I know, I don't know if Joe resigned or quit from that thing
He said
or
he did,
whatever.
I don't think he did it formally.
Well, he never
Okay.
gave me a resignation letter.
All right,
You
well,
know what, tell him if he quits, and we don't have community service, he can buy them back, it's on the record.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah, he said if you don't use them.
Joey just had a moment where I talked to Joe afterwards about that. I seen him. He just got a little.
And the other thing I had a statement of, I had talked to Karen Robbins, and she had told me before that if we need any, if we were looking for any grant writing, that Woolman does that for free.
And see, at the time she offered that to us, we actually couldn't do it because we were in negotiations.
Okay.
So at the time she actually offered that service to the board,
Right.
legally we couldn't do it because we were in contract negotiations.
Bless you.
Bless you. So,
Well, I just wanted to state the fact, because I just spoke to her just a minute ago when we were on a break, and I asked her if that offer still stands, and she said yes. So I just wanted to throw that up to the board. Also, another question, the last question I have is on the McNeil Mansion, the building itself. When we spoke to the Bremen Corporation at the signing a couple of weeks ago, that they stated the fact, or at least I got them to state the fact, that if I was able to get a group or money or investors involved, would they be willing to turn the mansion or sell the mansion to a private entity? And they said yes, they would. Is there any reason why the Historical Society never got involved in that building itself?
Which historical
The
society?
city-
The
city
McNeil
or
Mansion,
county?
the mansion itself.
The city?
City or county? Historic Society.
they're asking you, you mean?
Both.
Either.
Either, yeah, either the state.
I could probably give you some reasoning behind that. Number one, the County Historical Society is not involved. The City Historical Society, the buildings that they take care of in the city are owned by the city, and the City Historical Society are the stewards of those buildings, and the city maintains them. That is private property. They would have to buy it from the builder. The the city would, in order to do what you want to do through the city.
And the only reason I state that is because I see what they did with the Smithville mansion. And I'm wondering why,
I think it was private, and it was the Smithfield estate. I think.
yeah, it was originally purchased by the freeholders, but it was turned over to the Friends of the Smithville mansion.
Yeah, that's very possible, but you have to get somebody like the freeholders to buy it and turn it over to whoever.
Right.
Any other new business?
No, but I did want to bring something back up real quick. When we were talking about the invoice for Haynes and Haynes, I'm comparing it against the bill and the envelope I have in here, and it's the same invoice number, same policy number. Now, I looked in the treasurer's report for the past 2 months, I don't see where a check has cleared for this policy, so perhaps
Well, I better find to see if we really
it didn't
wrote one.
reach him, or...
We wrote it. Or
I'm pretty sure.
maybe I shouldn't say that. We approved it to be paid and money was allocated.
Well, I would have the treasurer check.
She'll have to go through the book. What did you, let me see the original bill.
This is the original bill. I pulled it out while I was
Which month
sitting
is
here,
the
I was
original
thinking.
bill?
You know, and my brain's starting to go now.
The
I remember.
original, oh, I'm sorry,
4/1.
yeah.
February, March, April. And you went back out for it?
Well, that's dated,
April.
yeah, but the date that it was sent is showing May 1st.
Is this the one I walked over and
You know,
signed?
Mary,
I signed the paperwork.
And I do remember
Yes.
you saying that they said it didn't have to be paid right away. We may never have paid it. We may not have paid it.
I'm almost certain that we had allocated the funds for it.
Yeah, but the check may have never been cut. Because I remember there was a deadline on it, and you walked over and you came back and said, they said 30 days, 60 days, whenever you pay, you pay.
I'm not sure that's how exactly what it went, because we weren't sure, they kept bugging us for signatures. And if we allocated, we could have paid, we couldn't, I mean, that's what you gotta.
She'll go back into the book for,
That's what you gotta
at
really
least,
check it out.
go back from April.
Well, just give it a-
Yeah, I have that.
Is it good to give her this?
You've got.
Give her this one, let me keep the original with the,
But go back to like the beginning of April, because it's dated April 1st. Here.
well, I just checked,
No,
I
it's
just
not
checked
April,
the treasurer's report for May and for April, it's not in there.
But just check back to see.
I'm gonna skim through the minutes for the past 2 meetings, see if it shows in there when
I
we
know we
had
approved
authorized the
paying it,
treasurer.
and the money was transferred. Now, if that building get paid, we use the money for something else. We'll have to track it.
That and the money was transferred, and it's just sitting in there.
Well, no, it's not, because we only got $100 and some dollars in
Well,
our account.
normally when we do the treasurer's
that's why
report, we
we're-
count the checks
Let's
that are,
find out, we'll find
we
out.
count the
Any
days.
other new business? Any other business, period? I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to adjourn. All in favor?